Hey, this is Hans from Request for Music, and I'm back again with a new module because, as Reed Swedmer said in on Facebook, I seem to be on fire. So I thought I make an extra module to do granular work, granular stuff in Voltage Modular. Um, so I've got this module here. I'll put it in. It's called Grains, and in Grains there's a couple of modes. First of all, it started out as a granular effect, so just taking a sample and breaking it up and splitting it and changing it and whatever. And it is based loosely on an IntelliGel module. IntelliGel is a brand that creates these kind of things for Eurorack. So yeah, I tried a bit to follow some of the things that I had, but anyway, in the grains module, I've got not only the grains effect, but you can also use it as a live recording tool for samples, so you can use your own samples to put in there and. To play around with that, there's also a synth engine in there, or it changes on the pitch based on whatever you do on a keyboard. So grains, the module, it has a pitch input and a gate input to play around with it with a keyboard. It has a trigger input to do some other stuff. It has a left and a right input to put your audio in, and it has a load button and a level a knob. The load button to load any sample, a wave file or whatever that you can put in, and the level to change the level of that. Sorry. Then there's a recording switch to switch the ring buffer recording on. There's the source setting with which you can indeed change from the original sample, which is a mono sample, or a live sample, which is in stereo, and the synth part that you can switch up as well. And there's a reverse to change the way that it handles the grains. For on the left side, we have a lot of inputs for modulation, X and Y and a Z, and a next and a velocity. And yeah, the next is going on to the next grain in the granular or in the sample velocity to change the velocity of the stuff, and the bottom three are self yeah adjustable. So that means that you have this drop down where you can switch from a pitch input or a position or spray or size or whatever, and you have three of those modulatable ones, and these are stuck to something that I set at the beginning. And on the right part there's 8 outputs for each of the 8 grains that are available, so you can do other stuff with the grains if you wanted to. And on the bottom, I have the grain size, the density, the position, spray, which sort of, how do you say that? It divides the over the full length of the recording. It will change the position of all of those grains, but you'll see that in a minute. Envelope, which has a couple of settings that you can use to change how the amplitude of the individual grains behave. Sorry, I still have a bit of a cold, so I'll be coughing through and through. Semitones, with which I can go from minus to plus 12 semitones, minus to plus 24 semitones to change the pitch. Fine tuning, a randomized pitch, spreading over the stereo field. Poly, which means that it's not a real poly synthesizer, but it means that the grains will be able to play together for a couple of them that you have there. Sample level, which is just the sample level itself, and the mix itself will then mix the grains output with that sample level. And a gain, a master gain that affects the output, which we have here, and a filter which is on the middle like it is now. It is not filtered. Everything below is a low pass. Everything on top is a high pass filter. So that's it. So what do we do with it? Let's first of all hook this up to my Echoes module. I might have that um, closed down to start off with, and I'll just go and see if I can find any samples. So I'll click my load button and will take me to my screen where I can find everything that is a wave. So let's see what I have. I think I'm going to call this speech thing again if I can find it. Let's excuse me. Where am I? I'm going to find the specific one. The mana one. Mana is okay. It's already being mixed.
First, there's that liquid heat.
Listen to this.
Bringing color, going deep. You sigh as you catch the scent. Breathing deep, it's heaven sent.
So I'll turn this down for now. So this is a vocal sample, a vocal recording of a poem from a Facebook friend that I have. Which I use in some music at some point. So you see that I have the wave showing for that sample, and you already see a vertical line. The vertical line is the thing that is going to change everything, really. So that means that if I now put my mix up, you'll hear that it's actually taking sort of a part of that sample, and the position then changes where in that sample you're going to take things. The grid size is going to decide how long that sample is going to be that you're taking, and then there's a density and there's this spray stuff. The density is the amount of samples that you're going to take per second, and the spraying is going to decide how to divide that over that full sample. So something like this, for instance. Yeah, so it's really going to mess stuff up. And I said the envelope is a subtle change between how it's going to work with so this is forwards, and now it's reverse, reading those samples. So that's basically what it's doing. And then we have a filter, high pass filter on this part, low pass filter on the other side. Gain for this. And as said, if you wanted to mix the original with it, I'll have to dial this up. Dial this back.
Manna from heaven to me. Wait, what are you talking about?
Let's go to just the samples and do something with the semitones. So it's of course speeding up the samples or slowing them down. You've got fine tuning for that if you wanted to, and you've got a random pitch. So now all of the samples will be randomly pitched. So some of them will sound higher, some will sound lower. Then there's the spreading, which takes those over the stereo field and let's take this back to 1, so it's actually taking a sample each time, or poly, where it will take all of them together. So that's basically what it does. And then of course there's all this kind of inputs and stuff like that. So that means that if I would take an LFO So I'm going to pick the LFO in there. There's no attenuators for or attenuators for the inputs, so I need to do that on the outside. So I'm going to take my LFO in here in my mixer, because this is sort of an amplifier or attenuator actually. So I'll take the output and put that into this, and let's take it back a bit. So the grain size is shorter and is not spraying, and it's taking some density, so I don't have too much. Oh, the random pitch was on, so it almost sounds like a sample and hold. So something like this, and I'll take this into to this modulating or modulator input that I can change myself. So I could take the pitch now, and so now I'm modulating the pitch of that, of course, by using my LFO. And still, it's decidable by yourself how and where the position and such lies. So let's take this up to 0, because this then changes sort of the base from which the pitch goes. This is the pitch. Position will change the position of so the position is now changed by that, and spraying where it's going to take that from. So and of course you can combine that kind of modulation as well. So if I take this and I also put another LFO into the second one, and I change that to, let's say, pan, for instance, it will change the output, the stereo output of that. So and it will go pan from that part. So let's do it like this as well. And the nice part, of course, of a granular synth is that you can try and find an interesting piece, something like this, for instance, and then use that. Source can be set to synthesizer, and that means that if I set it on top, it's not going to sound unless I take a pitch and a gate. And so now I'm playing it using my keyboard. And if I so I've got it set to poly, so that means that it's it's actually taking the pitch, and it's taking the grains, the separate grains. So now I actually can play chords in my granular using this. And now if I set my echo on, then let's take some ambient pad cloud. So yeah, that's the granular synth, and as said, you can actually take those out as well. So let's say that I would want, let's see, what shall we do? I'll take this down to the original setting, and I'll take my pitch and my gate out, and I've taken the next input now to drive the module. So if I take this up, it's going to take a next sample every time. So something like this. Oh, I've got it still in reverse. That's it. Thinking there's nothing sipping to taste. And this, of course, is doing some other stuff. So let's take this to something like analog. Thinking there's nothing sipping to taste. But now if I, for instance, would use my normal mixer and take the output of this into the main output and put this in here, I could actually now take, for instance, the first grain. Let's put some more volume in here. I could take my first grain, put it in here, and put this on the left. So this is actually still just the first grain that is taking out. And let's take the second one and put this in here. And
you sigh as you can't breathe. It's heavens. Thinking there is compare sipping from the taste.
And the envelope, of course, decides how they break up. But now you got the first sample being on the first side. Let's take
thinking there is from it the taste just there. Man heaven to me. What are you talking about? I meant my teeth. There's that good heat bringing going deep. You sigh the sun. Breathe the heavens. Thinking there is
I've got it to the rectangular envelope now, which means that you could hear some more
what are you talking about?
when it's working, but still, yeah, it should be able to run properly. Of course, a granular synth like this is always heavy on the processor, so
what are you talking about?
there is a demo for the module, so you might have to try if it works for you. But in this way, you can, as I said, you can really combine nicely with the full granular output into the mix at the top, and then the separate ones. And how many are available depends on the density, of course. So if I put more in there, there will be an eighth one if everything's okay. And the density is actually per second. So I've got something like this, like it's taking 37.7 grains per second at the moment. Which, and then if I would do something like spray, it will take it over the complete sample or a larger part of the sample. And take my spread out, it will have mono, but I have the other ones, the separate ones on. So the actual sample output would be this. And if I take my spread up, it will put those grains over the serial image. So yeah, that sort of handles, introduces whatever
manna from heaven to me.
So starting what are you talking about? Like this, you end up with the thing that I just let you listen to. The grains module will be available in the store within a couple of days, where the separate price will be $24. And if you have the FSyn bundle, it'll cost you $15. And if you have the FSyn generative bundle, it will cost you $19.50. So I hope you'll enjoy that. I hope you'll test it anyway using the demo, and I hope you like it. And I'll be seeing you in a next video. So cheers, bye bye.